Turn my headphones up. Louder. What you need? What you need? I got what you need. What you need? What you need? What you need? I got what you need. L-O-L-O-L-O-L-O, white America, assassinate my character.
What's up, 49 fans? My name is Chris Sylvester. Welcome in to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on a Monday night on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. Thanks very much for tuning in on this Monday night. We are at a point in the sports world where there is no longer Monday Night Football. The NBA barely at the All-Star break, and of course baseball hasn't started yet. So I guess if you're into golf or tennis or another, small sport per se, you might be tuned into that. But let's face it, Monday nights at this time of year, February 11th, pretty much dedicated to college basketball, and that's what this show's all about. The Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on Spreaker.com. Thanks for tuning in once again. My name is Chris Sylvester, your host. As usual, 9th episode up and running here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. Good to have you with us. Long Beach State with that huge road victory at the Matadome against Northridge, 83-80 this past Saturday. Long Beach improving to 14-9 on the season and 10-2 overall in the Big West Conference. Now, before we get into the game, you have envisions as a team. You have goals as a team. Now, I've heard multiple comments from players on this team after watching what last season's team did, and frankly they felt they could do what last season's team did in Big West play. Now, a lot of us fans who have been around the game, specifically Long Beach State men's basketball, for a plethora of years, knew that these guys weren't all just going to show up one day and start winning games. Like I've said on previous shows, even last show, more recently, we were absolutely spoiled, we were absolutely blessed, and we were absolutely just lucky to have the type of team we had for the past 4 seasons, the 4 horsemen. Do I even need to name them again? And we knew this year we'd have bumps along the road in trying to create something new in hopes of dancing when the middle of March rolls around. So don't be discouraged at all. And it took myself a little while, should I say, to get used to seeing losses in the loss column in Big West play. Sure, we had that one loss at Fullerton last year and 3 the year before, 1 to Irvine and Fullerton on the road, and the other one, of course, in the championship game against Santa Barbara. But we're not really used to seeing numbers other than 0 at this point in the season, I guess you could say, in the loss column for Big West play. But considering how quickly this team was put together after Kayala King and Tony Freeland were deemed eligible by the NCAA when conference play started back on December 29th, putting all of that into consideration, you have to be happy that these guys are 10-2 at this point in the season, because it hasn't come easy at all. Long Beach over only 2 double-digit wins over Big West opponents. Everything else has had you on the seat had you on your seat, the edge of your seat, until the buzzer sounded, signaling that the ball game was over. Nothing has come easy for this team so far, and that's why you really got to be proud of them, because they escaped grabbing the W on their way out the door. And Saturday was a prime example of that. Long Beach coming off of its worst conference loss in a while that I can recall. I couldn't give you a specific date on when the last time was that Long Beach lost a conference game by 21 or more, which they did last Thursday in Honolulu, Hawaii. But heading into this game, you only thing you want to take away from that game is the way you played in the second half, and even that play wasn't all that stellar, but it was good enough to make it seem like at one point in the game it was at least somewhat competitive. This game, when the buzzer sounded to go to halftime, had a very similar feel. Obviously you weren't down by 33 points 6 hours and 22 minutes away from home like the 49ers were in Hawaii. But after going to the locker room down 39-28 at the Matadome, a sold-out Matadome because it was alumni night at Cal State Northridge, you really thought that this team was just tired and the young legs of Northridge we're going to outplay them the rest of the night and roll home for a home victory. But for the second consecutive game, we saw a completely different team come out in the second half and put up 50-plus points for the second consecutive game in the second half. The past two games, the 49ers failed to put up 60 points in a game. Now, they did escape those two games with victories, but at least it's good to see that they've gotten their kinks settled, or whatever you might want to call it offensively, to the 49ers. Good to see them having an improved offense the last two games. But back to this Northridge game. It was just a matter of wanting it. And once again in the first half, and I really don't know how long it's going to take and what it's going to take for this team to play a full 40-minute game. But you saw another lackluster performance from the 49ers in the first half. You saw a team that, here we are in a high school-esque gym in Northridge, California. We can't get pumped up for this. That's what they looked like in the early going. And the only people picking them up in the first half were Peter Papageorge and James Ennis, better known as the only two seniors of this bunch. And that's why it's so important to have the veteran leadership on your team. Sure, Peter Papageorge and James Ennis have only been for the program for like a year and a half now? But look how much they've matured under Coach Dan Munson's staff and way of playing basketball as a team. Now this team, I guess, sort of a cliche thing to say considering they're not so good at playing as a team consistently, but this bunch of 49er players have had trouble all year playing as a team. Now, is it instances where one guy tries to do too much? Sometimes. But it's just the undisciplinary actions that this team makes out on the basketball court. You saw a lot of those in the first half, which led Northridge to an 11-point, 39-28 lead at the break. But as I was getting to saying earlier, James Ennis and Peter Papageorge with their three-point shooting kept this one close in the first half, and then started the furious comeback in the second half. Long Beach hit back-to-back threes out of the locker room, started raining pretty much every shot that went up, and was certainly a good sign to see as they went on to score 55 points in the second half. And what I really like about this game offensively in the second half was that these guys knew when it was their time to score points and their time to quote-unquote take over. We had a 2 or 3 minute period in this game where Keala King just scored, I believe, 7 points in a row, 6 points in a row. And that's what Keala King can do. That's what we've been hoping to see since he transferred over from Arizona State. Like, he was their leading scorer last season, and it's not easy to be a leading scorer of a Pac-12 team. And we all know that Keala King is a great player, and I believe he'll be the man on next year's team offensively. But we finally saw what we've all been waiting to see, and that's this guy just letting the game come to him, and on the offensive side of the ball, schooling players left and right and getting in the paint for an easy layup or two. And that's what we saw for that 2 or 3 minute period, and it really contributed to the 49er comeback. And then, at the end of the game, Mr. Clutch Caffey stepping it up once again. When there's a tight game late, I think we all know now whose hands we want on the ball. And that's nobody other than Mr. Clutch, Mike Caffey. This is the 4th time I can recall, and there's probably been more times than that over his short career here at Long Beach State. Can't believe he's only a sophomore. But it started with the game-winning floater against Hawaii, which translated into 2 free throws to seal the deal against Santa Barbara, and a key jumper in the Cal Poly game at home, that 50-48 victory for the 49ers. And then in this game, Caffey just closing it out. 2 incredibly tough fadeaway 3, just nailed them. Just nailed them. 22 points, 8 for 11 from the field, 5 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers. If we get this Mike Caffey more consistently, because we know, and I know, and the team knows, that he's human and he's not going to do this every single game. But if we can get more of this play from Mike Caffey, he all of a sudden becomes really the successor of Casper Ware. And sure, you can call him the successor just because he took over Casper's starting spot from last season. But really, other than a few games, really hadn't played to the level of Casper Ware. Now, is Mike Caffey ever going to get to the level of Casper Ware playing-wise? I believe he can, but I don't know if he will, because Casper was a darn great player in all of college basketball. He was an elite point guard, one of the best point guards in the nation last season. And now he's doing his thing professionally over in Italy. Hopefully one day shaking and baking it to the NBA. But if we can get this play more consistently from number 5, then that's really all this team needs. Because I got on Mike Caffey a couple shows ago about just dribbling the ball for 10 seconds and then passing it up, getting it back, dribbling it some more. Oh shoot, there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Let me get off a low percentage shot, miss it, or turn the ball over, wasted possession. Yes, he scored 22 points. Yes, he stole the ball twice. Yes, he had 5 assists. But the big category here for me that stands out the most is 0 turnovers. When was the last time Mike Caffey had 0 turnovers in the game? He logged 34 minutes and dropped 22 points, went 8 for 11 from the field, 4 for 4 from beyond the arc, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. All that doesn't matter. Yes, it contributed to the win, and if we didn't get it, we wouldn't have won. But that, along with the fact that he had 0 turnovers and 5 assists, his assist to turnover ratio, something that hasn't been very pretty so far this season, that is a huge step for Mike Caffey in the right direction. And if this team can take the momentum offensively from the second half of this game and roll it over into the end of the season, nobody's going to stop them in Big West play. Stephen F. Austin isn't even going to stop them when we come to the bracket buster. And if Long Beach goes to the tourney, it'll be hard for a tournament team to stop this furious offensive attack. Elite team or not. And I'm just extremely thrilled with this win. Was the defense there? Not exactly. Was the rebounding there? No. Still got out rebounded. I don't know if this team is ever going to be a good rebounding team. But in a case like this, where you play a game less than 48 hours than your past one, which was a blowout loss about 3,500 miles away, you're fortunate to just come out with a W. Now, an interesting fact is that the way they work the scheduling in the Big West with Hawaii added is that a team from the Big West that goes and plays at Hawaii will come back if it's a Thursday-Saturday thing. If you play in Hawaii on a Thursday, you come back and you play Northridge on a Saturday. And you would think that'd be a benefit for Cal State Northridge just because of the fact that, you know, these guys might be tired, jet-lagged, or whatever. But Northridge has won 0 of those games facing teams coming from Hawaii. Just an interesting stat. I don't have any meat on the bones for that topic, but just an interesting stat there. Northridge falls 13-12, 4-9 in Big West play. That ties them at the cellar with the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. But once again, clutch performance at the end from Mr. Caffey and Long Beach State, able to pull out this victory. Certainly, defense and rebounding still a problem, but when your team can go on offensive furies like this, I guess those don't exactly decide the ball game every single time. And Long Beach still put up 83 points without basically a peep from Mr. Tony Freeland. There had to be something wrong with Tony because he's played really well the last 3-4 games, and he just came out tonight, on Saturday night, only played 18 minutes, and just didn't seem like he was really feeling it. I don't know, maybe he was just tired, or maybe possibly sick, and I'll give Tony the benefit of the doubt on this one and let him pass, but definitely a little bit discouraging to see Tony Freeland's performance out there on Saturday. So, you know, let's just hope that he wasn't, well, obviously we don't hope that anybody doesn't feel well, but let's just hope that it was just a little bit of a fluke on Saturday night for Mr. Freeland, because he certainly is a very talented basketball player, and he's been a very key part of the success that this team has had in Big West play. When we come back, there is a blackout night going on at the Walter Pyramid. on Wednesday against the arch rival Cal State Fullerton Titans. We'll preview that game and more when we come back on the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show here on Spreaker.com, an affiliate of National Sports. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show, folks. My name is Chris Sylvester, your host. Long Beach State this Wednesday. In the past, we've done whiteouts at the Walter Pyramid. This year we're doing a blackout against the Cal State Fullerton Titans. They come into the game at 12-11, 5-6 in Big West play. They were picked by the media at Big West Media Day to finish second in the conference, but they've just really been a disappointment. And I don't like Cal State Fullerton, and I felt like I've said this before on this show, but it's disappointing to see a team with so much talent like Fullerton does in the front court, at least, to just not play well at all in conference play and not play to the expectations that people expected of them. A lot of people expecting this team possibly to go. This was possibly their year to go to the NCAA tournament. I mean, if you remember last year, this team was able to knock off Long Beach on the last day of the regular season, and then just a lot of people expected that to be the tournament final matchup, Long Beach State, Cal State Fullerton, but they got upset by UC Irvine in the first round, and I think it just showed that this team didn't really have a strong character built around them. I don't know if it was because of Coach Turner, who was the coach for the past 9 seasons at Cal State Fullerton, but he resigned and Andy Newman took over, and same old, the inconsistencies of the Cal State Fullerton Titans, but nonetheless, gonna be another dogfight, per se, between Cal State Fullerton and Long Beach State come Wednesday night, blackout night, 8 o'clock game, ESPNU. Cal State Fullerton coming off of a win at the hands of UC Riverside, 79-67. That game was on the TV, and I was able to catch it. Sammy Yeager had a fantastic game. Fullerton shot 49% from the field. Sammy Yeager put up 30 points. But looking at the box score for this game, just kind of going down at Saturday night after all the games had gone final in the Big West Conference, Chris Patton, and we know from seeing him earlier this season, and we know from his numbers that he is an excellent big man. But Chris Patton for UC Riverside, the 6'10 Australian, put up 36 points against Cal State Fullerton. 36 points. Now I was watching the game and I saw him get a bunch of easy looks down low, and didn't know till later that he put up that many points. So, what does that say to me? Well, let's state the obvious. Cal State Fullerton's not going to overwhelm you with their size. And clearly, after seeing this game, and I'm not taking anything away from Chris Patton, the UC Riverside forward, after watching this game and seeing how Patton just absolutely demolished Fullerton's quote-unquote bigs, Long Beach State, down low at least, should have absolutely no problem on Wednesday night scoring at will. Now, the last time Long Beach State played at Fullerton and got that 81-71 victory back on January 19th, they were playing without Dan Jennings due to his mini suspension after showing bad attitude in a practice the day before. And really, the reason why the 49ers won this game was not the fact that they had Kyle Richardson or Nick Shepard really doing much. The two combined for 1 rebound and 0 points. It was the other quote-unquote bigs for Long Beach State beating up the Titans down low. Long Beach State out-rebounded Fullerton by 45 to 28 last time out. 15-11 on the offensive glass. And with Dan Jennings playing, assuming he plays, assuming we don't hear anything in the next 2 days, I mean, he has been playing the last 5 games since that. But assuming Dan Jennings plays, there's absolutely no reason that he can't go off for 15 and 10. Now, it's not a walk in the park against any basketball team to go 15 and 10. In fact, we haven't seen Dan Jennings put up a double-double yet as a Long Beach State 49er. But if there's one thing we know, it's that Fullerton has no bigs, really. Deuce Johnson, their forward, I guess you can call it, he's their tallest player, and he stands as a generous 6'7", and only averages 3 rebounds a game and 21 minutes a game. If you're Dan Jennings, there's absolutely, or even Tony Freeland as well. Tony did get into some foul trouble last time against Fullerton, and that's what Fullerton's going to try to do again, get Long Beach's bigs into foul trouble so they make it somewhat of an even game height-wise. But if you're Dan Jennings, or you're Tony Freeland, or you're Kyle Richardson, even Dang Chris Goley and James Ennis and Nick Shepard, if you're any of the big guys that are going to get in on Wednesday against Cal State Fullerton, you need to, first of all, just absolutely eat in the paint, because they're not going to stop you in the paint whatsoever. But if they bring the double team, you need to learn how to kick out and find the open man for 3. On the defensive end, it's simple. Don't foul unless you really have to. And we saw Tony Freeland, like I just said, get into foul trouble last time out, and that's what I felt made this a close game. Yes, he only sat out 11 minutes, played 29, but he had a nice 9 points and 6 rebounds and was really creating confusion on the offensive end for Fullerton, and was able to give Kayala King and James Ennis, who had 23 and 11 last time, Mike Caffey, Dang as well, easy opportunities for jump shots. And that's another benefit of the size. You know, James Ennis and Kayala King 6'5", James Ennis 6'7", and we all know about his hops. You know, it's a lot easier for these guys to shoot over their defenders. Now, it's not all about the inside game, I understand that. But there's no reason Long Beach should lose this game when you have a guy 6'9", 255 like Dan Jennings in the paint against the smallest team in the conference, probably. So I expect Dan Jennings to have double-digit points, and if not double-digit rebounds, 7, 8, or 9 of them. Will I be disappointed if he doesn't and we get the win? Not really, but it just shows me another prime example of Dan Jennings, I don't want to say not panning out, because we've seen what he can do when he's on. And he did have a good game against Northridge, 11 and 7. But I really, these are the type of games that we expect Dan Jennings to dominate in. Just with the height advantage alone. You talk about his body strength as well, you add that in as well, it should be no competition down low. And as long as he doesn't get into foul trouble, he should have a monstrous night against the Titans. Now the Titans, as we know, are a team that can score a lot of points and a lot of points at will. They can shoot the lights out against you. They're 4th in the nation in scoring still. They shoot almost 20 3-pointers per game. Now, last time these two teams played, they went 5 for 24 from behind the arc, and that was a big reason why Long Beach State won the game. And you got to give credit to the 49ers for defending that, because the game before they gave up 10 3-pointers to UC Riverside, another team that likes to shoot a plethora of threes. But the one thing you can't do, even if you get it going on the inside, and even if you play well defensively on the inside, is let this team get open looks from 3. Because Kwame Vaughn, DJ Sealy, and Sammy Yeager are an absolute 3-headed monster and will kill you from beyond the arc if you let them have clean looks. Long Beach in this game needs to do a good job of just staying on their man, helping on screens, and just don't let them get open shots. I don't know what better way to put it, what fancier term to use. But I really feel like this is a game that I really expect Long Beach to win this game. And, you know, they've already beaten this team by 10 points on the road without their big man, Dan Jennings. And it's not like Kyle Richardson dominated that game. He only played 5 minutes despite starting. I really expect the 49ers to come out with a pretty easy victory on national TV. Now, can we call any game in the Big West easy this season? Absolutely not. But just by seeing what this team did last time against Fullerton, and the fact that it's going to be an absolutely crazy atmosphere against them this time at the Walter Pyramid, Blackout Night, national TV, 8 p.m. start, there's absolutely no reason in the world that Long Beach can't go pummel these guys by 20 points. Now, is it going to happen? Probably not, because this Cal State Fullerton team does have seniors, and seniors are veterans, and veterans usually translate into leadership. Does this Fullerton team really have a strong sense of leadership? No, but they have sparks in them that are capable of winning this game on Wednesday night. I don't really have a prediction other than I think that Long Beach is going to win. And unfortunately, it probably won't be a win where we come out of that and say, darn, we played good in every aspect of the game. But that's just the process of this whole thing, and although some of us might have thought by this time in the season that this team would be completely gelled and playing fantastic basketball, blowing away Big West opponents every game, it just hasn't happened yet. And obviously we hope that at some point it does, but if it doesn't, at least we know that this team knows how to win close games. Something, frankly, that last year's team didn't have to do. Therefore, we never really got to see them showcase their playing ability in close games against Big West opponents. Now, we saw them struggle in we saw them struggle in games against some of the top teams in the nation, most notably Creighton, New Mexico, North Carolina, Kansas, Louisville. We saw that they struggled in those close games against top teams and never came out with a victory in a close game against the top team. I mean, they beat Xavier and Pitt by double digits. So, at least we know that this team, at least in Big West play, knows how to win close games. And hopefully, once this team gets to that level that we all expect them to be on, they can start winning games with ease. But until we see a couple of games where we do that, you just simply can't play around at all if you're Long Beach State, because you saw what the slow start translated into against Hawaii. Now, it didn't bite them against Santa Barbara, Cal Poly, Northridge, or all the other games where Long Beach got off to their lackluster start. But sooner or later, it's going to catch up. Hopefully we see a team that's determined in the first half, considering that they're probably playing in front of an impressive atmosphere against a good team, against their rival. Long Beach needs to bear down, play team basketball for 40 minutes, and impress the folks on national TV that don't know what this Long Beach State team is all about this season. It all goes down Wednesday at the Walter Pyramid at 8 p.m. on ESPNU. I know I'll be out there wearing the new blackout shirt. Hopefully we can pack the mid for this rival game. Another must-win game, I feel, for the 49ers, because you don't want to lose to a team like Cal State Fullerton with a very, very weak RPI. Thank you for tuning in to the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show. My name is Chris Sylvester, and I'm out. Go Beach.
I fly with the stars in the skies. I am no longer trying to survive. I believe that life is a prize, but to live doesn't mean you're alive. Don't worry about me and who I fire. I get what I desire. It's my empire, and yes, I call the shots. I am the umpire.